We have our second episode of the McFarlane Toys show, which is going to be this kind of fan stream sort of event that McFarlane is probably going to start having periodically. It's sort of a way for them to rival Hasbro with their Hasbro Pulse fan streams like they've been doing with Marvel Legends, or even with their Star Wars division or G.I. Joe division or Transformers. But McFarlane went ahead and had their sophomore episode scheduled for Wednesday, February 5th. So here I am to tell you that it wasn't very good. It started off with a little bit of a preamble between AJ and Brian. I believe that these two are going to be our main guys to kind of give us the lowdown as far as these episodes, as far as these McFarlane Toy Show toy show episodes, briefings, etc., whatever you want to call it. And they started the show with pretty much some discounts, some, I guess you could say, some first-hand look at these discounts that are now live on certain storefronts with either codes or just straight up slashes. A reiteration of the new, which actually went up this morning, the pre-order for the animated series Clayface. However, this is the DC Direct, so it's going to be a little bit simplistic on the articulation. It's a little, cut, a little stagnant, but I do like the Clay accessories, so I'm still on the discussion side as far as whether or not I'm going to be picking that up. I'm still kind of talking to myself about it. And they went over literally a handful of pre-order stuff that we've already kind of known about. One of which, going back to the Twitter feed, is actually these 3 1/3 scale cowls, which I did want to kind of touch base a little bit, because admittedly, we're starting to get to a girth or an amount of these cowls that I'm probably going to want to pick up a few. Especially since in roughly about a week and a half, I'm starting a new job, a full-time job, which may or may not impact a little bit of the content flow here on the channel. I think the live streams are going to start to get a little sporadic. We'll have to wait and see. But I might actually have a bit of a desk at this workplace, and having some of these guys kind of in my desk would not be a bad idea, and especially in 1/3 scale. Especially now since they're tackling some of these cowls that I would very much like to own. And one of them is the Arkham Asylum cowl. This legit looks pretty badass. They talked about some of the shirts that they have available now in the store. Kong, new movie Maniacs from the Peter Jackson movie, although I don't know why he's called Kong, 8th Wonder in the World instead of King Kong. I don't know if they want to mix, I don't know if that's a licensing problem. A bunch of resin statues, somewhat overpriced resin statues, if I'm being quite honest, because I'm like, I see those things go up. Todd himself had a message for hitting 100,000 subscribers, so he's probably going to be getting that silver play button on the channel. They did confirm that there's going to be a stream of theirs during the Walmart Con, which I believe is in March, and we're actually going to retackle this in a separate topic involving Marvel Legends. So there is that. As well as kind of, like I said, reiterating some stuff that's already out there, like the what's Frostbite edition of the Clooney Batman, that's a GameStop exclusive. The Blacklight Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin, that's a Entertainment Earth exclusive, which is completely sold out, surprisingly. I was like, okay, well, somewhat surprisingly, but at the same time, when you think about it, it's also because people who didn't want to do the whole Build-A-Figure thing but still wanted a Schwarzenegger Freeze can now just get the figure by himself without having to get Poison Ivy or Batgirl or Robin if they wanted. So there's an upside there, as well as, of course, the Target exclusives Wildcat and Orion. What's his name? Yeah. So that was the bulk of that opening moment. Now, during that opening moment, there was, however, one big thing that was revealed to kind of kickstart the entire thing that was noteworthy, that was actually pretty badass, that in my opinion was so badass and pretty cool and pretty of note that I wrote it in my Google Keep as a dash, as its own little separate little anecdote in my Google Keep as topics to tackle. And that is going to, here's the thing, I'm kind of hyped for it, especially since I missed out on the original version. But that's just it. Keyword, original version. It's technically another repaint. And that's of the year 2 Batman set, which was originally a Target exclusive and is now becoming a Big Bat Toy Store exclusive, gold label, only now black and gray version, black accent version, instead of the blue from year 2. And much like that set, it's going to have a diorama with the gravel and the tombstone, but he's also going to have the interchangeable cape with the plastic sculpted one, but also the cloth one, probably with the wire. Apart from that, though, it's utilizing the same buck. As far as I can tell, it kind of looks a little Three Joker-ish, but with a new head sculpt. But I'm also looking at that rim where the cape is at, and it looks like it's utilizing the same one from that year 2 Target exclusive. And from what I remember people saying, collectors at the time, back in, what was it, I think this came out like late 2020, early 2021, so it's been a while. And when people got their hands on this Target exclusive, when it was a Target exclusive, a lot of people didn't like it. They were saying that some of these, manufacturing things that they did with the cape weren't all that great. So there's hope that maybe they have fixed it in that time. But I'm thinking about the recent Thomas Wayne Flash 2-pack. And considering how little they changed with Thomas Wayne, which was a positive for that figure because I already thought that figure was actually pretty cool. But here, there were a lot of people already saying that this was a bit of a dud exclusive then. And they just repackaged it as a Big Bat Toy Store exclusive. And are making it in limited quantities to go out for pre-order next Thursday, which is already looking like a very tumultuous Thursday morning, because there's one other figure, and we'll tackle that momentarily, that might be going up for pre-order that same Thursday morning. Then, yeah, for the sake of the content, I might be putting down a pre-order at Big Bat Toy Store that morning, because A, I missed out on the original, but B, I gotta do a review for it. It's gotta get some sort of spotlight shed on it. But don't get me wrong, there's nuggets of hesitation or skepticism in regards to how much they're really repackaging here and how 2025 is looking with McFarlane. Because this is actually a perfect segue into the remainder of that McFarlane Toys show, which was a whole lot of nothing. Let's look at this timeline, because at exactly 15 minutes and 30 seconds, Jim from the DC marketing team got introduced with his get-up here. Like I said, very killer joke. He even did the whole phone pose from the Killing Joke cover. And I remember I did see him at the McFarlane Toys panel at Comic-Con. So, despite my... and Rob D. Toys was there. But here's the thing. He gets introduced, right? So, around the 17-minute mark, or 17 and a half minutes, they do what they were kind of hinting at, which was this McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figure draft. Similar to a draft, because obviously we got the Super Bowl coming up, so they're doing it in that sports pick kind of style. But I think also in December, Marvel Legends even did something like this. So something tells me someone on the team over at McFarlane Toys saw Marvel Legends do it and thought, oh, let's do our own version. This thing goes on for $53 minutes. Not even the Marvel Legends guys went on for that long. I went and made dinner. It was a quick dinner. It was just some quesadillas. But I literally told myself, let's just see how long this goes. Went and made dinner, ate dinner, came back, and they were still doing this. Guys, this ain't it. This wasn't it. It added a little bit of spice to have Brad, DCU Geek, and Ahsoka when they were trying to like get a little touchy with each other as far as like, this is my list, this is my list, but it also felt a little manufactured. I don't know why, but I just didn't get the vibe with these guys pulling the draft. You know, there was no like this is a term that I think is going to be utilized with a lot of people. It felt like HR was in the room the entire time, and that's why I'm like, this wasn't that fun. I'm sorry. If anything, they should have put themselves at a cap of like 6 figures each. Not, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 figures each? It should have been like 5 or 6. 5 or 6. I'm sorry. This is some tough love. This took up way too much time. 53 minutes. Was it 53? Yeah, 53. 53-ish, maybe even 54. 54 minutes out of an hour and 21. That means, and then like how long of a starting soon screen was it? 2 minutes, so let's round it to 55. 21, about 25 minutes of actual discussions. 25 minutes of actual discussions around the figures. I'm sorry, this is my tough love, constructive criticism, guys. Nah, don't do that. And I guess what also kind of made things sting a little further was the fact that after the draft, they did get into some reveals. But the reveals, and this is just me, there were some people in the chat saying otherwise. But for my money, literally, figuratively and literally, these reveals weren't it. After waiting all that time, there needed to be this kind of like, if you guys are gonna be kind of tackling this very similar to how video game companies do it or how the competitor Marvel Legends does it, there has to be a one more thing or like a tease of what's coming. You know, that could really make headlines or make YouTube titles and eye-catching thumbnails. And these reveals just weren't it. Because what were they? They started with another one of those cover recreations of an existing figure. Comedian, I think it's the comedian Joker from Killing Joke, with the back little standee there that's blank on one side with just the logo, and then on the other side you have the cover with the camera. You have a Kong, or is that even Kong, or is that Gorilla Grodd? I don't even know. With Flash figure right there, kind of similar to the Hush Kong 2-pack. I don't care for it, but I know some people might. Play that a little bit there. Is that supposed to be Kong? I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah. And then we get to proper McFarlane Toys Collector's Editions reveals. And I don't care about him. You got this guy, I can't even remember his name, Adam something. And classic Deadshot. Like classic 1960s, 1970s, I think. I can't remember. I don't know exactly what the year is. But I know it's like a vintage look to Deadshot. Which is not, you know, aesthetically, visually, doesn't look like a bad figure. I just don't want it. Like, if I see this in the store, I'll be like, oh, cool, I found it. All right, anyways. And that's it. That was it. Now, I'm not saying that, where's Batman? Where's Batman? We had plenty of years with Batman. You guys even saw a briefing of that in the draft of how many. Batman had his own, like, bracket. And then underneath it just said Justice League. I was like, Jesus, there really is a lot of Batman. So I'm not saying that we're, like, falling short on Batman. No, and we even had that Big Bad Toy Store year 2, but even that Batman is a repaint. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, entering 2025, are we gonna get a bit of a Batman drought? And I'm of two minds. There's a part of me that's like, oh, my wallet can rest. But then there's another part of me that's like, but at the same time, what's there to cover? What's there to hunt? Right now, if you want to get super technical, the only thing I'm hunting is Power Girl. And even her, I'm starting to wane on the hunting because it seems like some storefronts, like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store and even McFarlane Toy Stores themselves, are starting to ship out their stuff. So the hunting is going to start to become a little pointless. So for me to cover like some Batman stuff, it looks like, I'm pulling back on that. At least, like I said, from a creator standpoint, that means that I can start working on stuff that has been on the backlog, like the Amazing Yamaguchi Arkham Knight Batman. I'm a little worried for McFarlane Toys, I'm not gonna lie. And considering we had a discussion some time ago about the rights and licenses expiring, like, are they trying to soften the blow for us to say, like, sometime later on in the year he's gonna be like, hey guys, DC license expires in 2025. The reason why I haven't been doing that much Batman and why I've been just reusing old figures instead of putting money into new bucks, new models, new sculpts is because I'm actually bowing out. Peace. We can't really rule that out. We cannot rule that out. I'm not saying that that's a guarantee that's going to happen, but I'm also not ruling it out because... And granted, it's only February. I think it would be a worthwhile thing to say if we enter Q2 or we're approaching the end of the first half of the year, so June, and then by then we only get like 2 or 3 Batmans, and some of them are just repaints of existing Batman, and then I'll be like, guys, I think it's Jover, as the kids say these days. I think it might be. Onward and upward, then.